This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Good evening, everyone. Tasmanian councils are preparing for a bitter war with the state government over what they claim is a $1.5 billion asset grab. Local government voting a resounding no to the Treasurer's proposed takeover of Taswater and is hoping the Legislative Council will step in to keep the status quo.
The vote was cast behind closed doors, 23 councils taking a stand voting no to the Taswater takeover. 4 councils voted in favour, while 2, Launceston and Georgetown, abstained.
We want to continue ownership of it and work with Taswater. We don't believe that there is a crisis with Taswater and never has been.
Last month, councillors heard from Local Government Minister Peter Gutwein, who presented them with details on the takeover proposal, but many said his presentation wasn't substantial. Today, at a special meeting run by the Local Government Association of Tasmania, councils heard from Taswater Chairman Miles Hampton.
We're required to take professional advice of the staff for which we're elected to. If I use that same principle, the only people we're getting professional advice from on this is from Taswater, because I guess they understand their business and they understand the finances of their business and how capital works are rolled out.
Council's main concerns centre around the long-term impacts on debt levels and if Taswater will remain viable under the government's model.
A significant asset. It's $1.5 billion worth of local government assets. The government wishes to grab these assets from local councils, and we believe we have the right to see whether they can actually do the job better than local government. We're
going to be in a worse situation in future budgets of government, and so therefore somebody's got to pay, and it'll either be councils or the ratepayers who pay for water and sewerage.
So where to now? LGAT says it's prepared to mount a campaign in opposition and will lobby legislative councillors to stop the takeover.
Well, when you have 23 out of 29, it is a strong vote, and so yes, I would say that we've been given the mandate today to speak very firmly with the government and with the outcome that there has been today.
Jessica Moran, Southern Cross News.
The state government is already pouring cold water on the owner council's decision, vowing to press ahead with a hostile takeover. Opposition parties are now lining up to defend local government and Taswater Chairman Miles Hampton, calling on the minister to resign.
The morning of decision day, and Peter Gutwein was again out spruiking his plan.
Take control of Taswater, that we get the job done quicker.
It was only a few hours to go until the councils officially put their position forward, and he soon had an answer. But regardless, the government says the move against its plan isn't going to put a spanner in the works.
We will do what's in the state's best interest, and that is that we want to provide lower prices for customers and a quicker fix to this very challenging problem that we have.
The opposition party's not so sure. Labor launching a scathing attack, claiming Mr Gutwein has a personality problem and it's too hot, so he should step out of the kitchen and step down as local government minister.
He doesn't have what it takes. He can't work with people. He's proved that time and time again. He's yelled at people. He's been offensive to people. He's unable to negotiate, and local government is all about negotiation.
The Greens insistent that the council's vote today should be listened to.
As we all know, local government is the layer of government that is closest to the people.
But it doesn't look as though that will be the case.
I think the state government should back off and listen to the result of the owner-managers today at LGAT.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
Concerns have been raised over who commissioned a Reach Tell poll last night, which surveyed 1,622 households, asking if they support the government's takeover of Taswater. The results showed 50.6% of people do, while 27.3% said no. 22.2% were undecided. The Greens say the weighing of some of the questions indicate the Liberal Party was behind it.
For it? Was it the people of Tasmania, or was it the Liberal Party themselves trying to lead Tasmanians to their policy position?
The state government says that's not true and the Liberal Party wasn't behind the poll. Tasmania Police is appealing for witnesses after a 13-year-old girl was assaulted by a man at midday today. The incident occurring in the female toilets at Launceston's Cataract Gorge. The offender, described as approximately 50 years old, of Asian appearance with dark scruffy hair, green eyes and a moderate to heavy build. He was said to be wearing a blue t-shirt, black track pants, grey sports shoes and round-rimmed sunglasses. He was last seen running towards the Trevallyn side of the gorge. Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. A 44-year-old man has been arrested and charged with manslaughter following a fatal crash on the Midland Highway near Perth in December last year. Crash investigators allege Dwayne Cashman was driving a gold Ford Falcon at high speed and crossed onto the wrong side of the road, colliding with a silver Kia wagon. The incident claiming the life of a 53-year-old Kings Meadows man whose family were in the vehicle with him at the time and sustained serious injuries. The accused fronted the Launceston Magistrates Court yesterday and was bailed to reappear on the 9th of June. A man who allegedly failed to report the murder of Bradley Wade Breward has pleaded guilty to the charge. Cody James Lee appeared via video link in the Launceston Magistrates Court. Mr Breward's body was found at Lake Eugeniana near Devonport in February. 2 men have been charged with his murder. Lee has been remanded in custody and will be sentenced in the Supreme Court in June. Burnie's Carol Edmonds has become the first Tasmanian in 8 years to be named Barnardo's Mother of the Year. Up against thousands of other nominees from across the nation, Mrs Edmonds won the award after raising her sister-in-law Kelly while having 2 sons of her own 32 years ago. Now a mum herself, Kelly says she was loved unconditionally from the time Carol welcomed her into the home. She says she's also grateful her adopted mum kept the memory of her own mother alive during the years spent in Mrs Edmonds' care. Yeah, great reward. Well, a new Crime Stoppers campaign supporting Tasmanian retailers against shoplifters has received state government backing. The budget initiative of $115,000 pledged towards tackling stealing.
It's a crime that often goes unnoticed until it's too late. And in the eyes of Tasmania Police, it's becoming increasingly dangerous.
I would like to emphasise the criminality of shoplifting. I prefer we called it stealing, was what it is. It's a crime under the criminal code. Let us not forget the staff that are sometimes confronted with situations that are obviously difficult for them to manage as well.
In the last 3 years, shoplifting offences have increased, prompting Crime Stoppers to take action.
Crime Stoppers came to government with a proposal to carry out an initiative that engaged retailers, community groups and the consumers as well on this very serious matter.
Exactly how the $115,000 will be spent is yet to be finalised, but those making a stand say it will go a long way.
It's a significant issue for small business retailers who have a lot of demands on their cash flow and their time, and this is just something that they don't need. So anything that we can do to help them address it is I think, of value.
I've had a bit of a look at Crime Stoppers' proposal and it's fantastic.
Annually, the damage done by shoplifting costs the Australian business community around $2.7 billion.
That's $424 is the average cost to every household for the cost of shoplifting in our own community.
The new campaign will be rolled out over the next 12 months. Anyone who witnesses suspicious behaviour should contact Crime Stoppers. Jessie Gilmore, Southern Cross News.
Road Safety Week has put the spotlight on motorcycle riders who last year made up 22% of the serious casualties on Tasmanian roads. Emergency services are reminding riders of the importance of wearing suitable clothing and riding to the conditions.
It's a road toll that's far too high. 5 out of 7 fatalities on Tasmanian roads last year were motorcyclists. Emergency services have a message for riders in a plea to lower the tragic statistics.
Just drive to the conditions, don't speed, and just think about what you're doing.
The fatal 5, all major contributors to the toll.
Alcohol and drugs, speed, being distracted from your driving, travelling too close to a lot of vehicles. So I see a lot of motorcyclists just travelling too close to vehicles in front of them.
Approved safety gear plays a large part in keeping our roads safe.
Either leather or some sort of Kevlar, something with armour in it, so something like what I'm wearing myself.
A training program for new riders will be introduced in the next few months, with its focus on having more practical experience before getting on the road.
Longer hours, more training, and that's what will be put into place. So motorcyclists, when they get on the bike, will be better equipped to handle the conditions and the bikes.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
The state's up-and-coming cooking sensations have today been given a star advantage. Award-winning chef David Moyle spending 2 days with TAFE students before their efforts are judged by the public.
Some of Tassie's top chef apprentices aiming to please the watchful eye of award-winning chef David Moyle.
There are Year 3 apprentices cooking a 7-course degustation meal for the general public. The students are currently doing the mise en place for the dinner, so all of those jobs that take quite a bit of time, and then tomorrow they'll jump into the final touches.
Hailing from Victoria 6 years ago, David has since claimed several prestigious culinary awards. The Hobart restaurant owner humbly attributing the success to Tasmania's produce.
When people are coming to Tasmania to experience this food, it's important for people to be able to represent it as strongly as possible.
The Cert 3 commercial cookery students stepping up to the Moyle Menu Challenge.
We've got some striped trumpeter that are quite young, being brain sparked right now, so to be served raw tomorrow.
Yeah, it's really good. We're learning all about the Tasmanian stuff, so pretty good.
David is actually a pretty awesome guy. It's going to be real fun to work with him, and it's going to be a great service with him.
Should get all prepped up and everything, so should be pretty well. Yeah, should be pretty well organised.
But the real test comes tomorrow night in pleasing the palates of 70 guests.
We can do it. We got this.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely nail it.
Jessie Gilmore, Southern Cross News.
Young Tasmanian artists have the chance to showcase their works as part of a new initiative by the Hobart City Council. Art on Victoria can be found near the rear entrance to Centre Point and features pieces by 8 emerging artists aged between 14 and 25. The outdoor gallery builds on the success of another art space in the Youth Arts and Recreation Centre on the fringe of the CBD.
I think that over time we'll see more and more art on spaces in Hobart. We've been rolling it out for the last few years and we'll continue to do so, so it's a great program.
New artists will get their chance to exhibit every 12 months. A report by the Australian Transport Safety Bureau into the breakaway of the Spirit of Tasmania 2 at Station Pier in Port Melbourne has concluded that the crew responded swiftly and the storm hit with little warning. On January the 13th last year, a severe thunderstorm hit Melbourne and caused all but 2 of the ship's mooring lines to break. The Spirit was then swung around 90 degrees and was in danger of grounding. The investigation found crew members took appropriate action to control and steady the ship. Now a look at the day's business and finance with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The share market is steady after early gains by the big 4 banks evaporated in afternoon trade and the miners fall on weaker iron ore futures. The ASX 200 index has risen by 2.9 points. And a short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 73.66 US cents and 107.53 New Zealand cents. Well, North Launceston will be looking to cement its position as the TSL ladder leader this weekend as it takes on a rejuvenated Magpies squad at KG5 on Saturday. After an unexpected loss at home last week, Glenorchy coach Aaron Cornelius says his side has what it takes to bounce back in the grand final rematch.
Final quarter fade-outs aren't the norm at Glenorchy. Coach Aaron Cornelius had pointed to 3 games in 10 days as a possible cause in the surprise loss to Clarence at home. But there's little time for navel-gazing this week as the Magpies prepare for an arguably bigger test, a dominant North Launceston outfit who are keen to continue on their winning ways. Cornelius says shutting down the Bombers' plethora of scoring options will be key to restoring pride at KG5.
As long as we play our systems, we've felt over the last 3 years that they can sort of combat what they're doing and make sure that we get our own backyard right before we start worrying about too much. Otherwise, you go in and you'd be too focused on what they're trying to do and your own game structure goes out the window.
North Launceston are also wary of Glenorchy's potent forward line after some easy wins in the opening rounds.
It's a real challenge for the back line this week. You know, we've had a few wins now over about 80 points, so you know, we're going to stick with the same back line. Like, there's no tricks this week. You know, we're just going to put the boys out there on the park and see how they live up to the test.
Meanwhile, Clarence will be without star midfielder Jake Cox for at least 2 weeks after he underwent surgery on his finger. It's sure to leave a dent in a team who stunned Glenorchy with a flurry of late goals.
I think he hurt it in the first quarter, so yeah, he played with it. So he had the operation yesterday, so he should be back in a couple of weeks.
And Lauderdale coach Darren Winter wants melee suspensions scrapped in favour of fines at TSL level. He says AFL football is a combative sport, and administrators, coaches and fans wouldn't tolerate star players at a national level being rubbed out for pushing and shoving. He says suspensions are becoming far too common in the State League.
Get the incident that sparked the melee. Don't worry about the melee, just fine players, that's fine. We're happy with that. Don't be lazy. Find out who the players are and fine them instead of handing bloody ridiculous suspensions out.
Lauderdale travel to Devonport on Saturday. Andrew McCarthy, Southern Cross News.
To netball, and Arrows will face its toughest test of the season when it goes head-to-head with Kingston tomorrow night. The ladder leaders have dominated the opening 6 rounds, while Kingston continue to emerge as a genuine contender. Arrows coach Andrew Jackson says his side is always confident of another dominant win, but will need to be in top form.
So any changes for you guys first, mate?
We believe we're the best team in the league and we're setting the standards, so it's up to other people to chase us. You know, each week you're 1 week closer to your next loss, but you're 1 week closer to your next win, and you're not going to lose just because it's time.
Play gets underway from 8 p.m.
Good evening. Just 13 in Hobart today. Launceston and Devonport 17. 18 the high around the state at Burnie, Wynyard and St Helens. Not much rain today as the front pass, just 2 mils at Mueller Ridge and Tim Shea. Bridport 17 degrees. Flinders Island, Lowhead, Friendly Beaches and Ooze got to 16. King Island 15 degrees. Grove 14. Strawn, Lyawini and Maydena all on 13. The front has a decent cloud band with it moving over our area and through Victoria and South Australia. There is low cloud. That's in the wake of that system, and a large mass of cloud with isolated thunderstorms over central and southeast WA. Now here's the close-up and a look at the frontal cloud band over us today. Tomorrow there is a low near King Island with a trough extending through Bass Strait. A broad area of high extends over the eastern parts of the nation, and a trough is over the western parts of the nation. Winds having a battle on which way to blow tomorrow. The early northwesterlies will break down, and depending when you check, they could be coming from a number of directions, but not with any great force. They will be more variable over the south and lighter inland. Let's look at the forecast for tomorrow. 13 the top for Hobart with rain developing. A cold night for Huonville, rain tomorrow and 12 the top also for Campania. For Launceston, rain and 14 degrees, 15 the top for Devonport. Georgetown, that same forecast with 13 the maximum. For Burnie, rain, 16, 12 for Strawn with wet weather. Wynyard, rain and 15 degrees. While in the east, showers. St Helens 15, rain for Swansea 14 degrees, and Port Arthur showers increasing later, a top of 14. To the weekend, and on Saturday, showers over the east, south and Bass Strait Islands, mainly fine elsewhere. Showers over those same areas on Sunday with south-easterly winds. And into Monday, showers again for most of the state except the northwest. Some heavy falls predicted for the east. Partly cloudy in Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane tomorrow. A shower or 2 for Cairns, and sunny weather over the Northern Territory. And it's cloudy and 10 in Hobart, 12 degrees in Launceston at the moment and 15 in Devonport. Rachel, I notice around your neck an early Mother's Day present. Tell me what you really think of what the boys have done for you.
Hamish and Rupert have made me my beautiful necklaces tonight. I'm a very proud mum. Thanks for that, Murph. Well, that's all your news for now. We leave you tonight with pictures of a group of Tasmanian students setting sail on the trip of a lifetime. They'll spend the next 8 days on board the Windward Bound, travelling around the south and southwest coasts. Have a great evening. Good night.